everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 5th, 2022. Yeah, I was marking my territory, and it felt good. Whoa! Get a grip, Phyllis. You're not a dog, and Jack is not the mailbox. Calm down! Woo-wee! I don't care what anybody says about Phyllis. Michelle Stafford has spun gold from this material. Michelle Stafford makes this show worth talking about. She is so present in every single moment of every single scene. She makes the most out of every word that she says, and it was glorious. In fact, Michelle Stafford was so glorious. I am not even mad about Phyllis's flaunting this week. I found it to be the most entertaining part of the week. Hands down. It was awesome. It was awful. It was so awesome and awful. It was awesomeful. It was so awful. It was awesome. Kissing Jack in public like a couple of teenagers going at it at the coffee house just so Diane could see, and then running him back to the hotel up to her room for a quickie, and then timing it so that Diane would stop by the hotel to get her mail at the exact time that Jack and Phyllis were coming downstairs, all tousled and unbuttoned. Phyllis didn't even give Jack a chance to get dressed. She just pushed him into the elevator and dragged him down to the public lobby for a show with one person in the audience that it was intended for. And the way that Phyllis was just pulling on the ties of her shirt. She was pushing her bust out and wiggling her hips and walking on her toes. Oh, it was genius. It was genius. Completely desperate and cruel, though, but genius also. Oh, poor Jack was devastated. I mean, that's the cruel part. That's the part I feel bad about. Of course I feel bad for Jack. Jack doesn't know what to believe. I mean, Phyllis tried to explain it all away, saying that it was Diane. It's Diane doing this to her and to them. It's all Diane's fault. But I think Jack's gut is telling him that his worst fear here is true, that Phyllis is destined to break his heart, that there is not going to be a happy ending for them, that the teardrop of love curse is true, and that life will never just be champagne and donuts for him. How cute was Phyllis and Jack's donut and champagne picnic in the park, though? I loved that little blue picnic basket that they had that kept wanting to tip over. That thing was a real scene stealer. But it was a nice calm before the storm moment. Phyllis seemed a lot more relaxed. For a change, she actually wasn't nagging Jack about Diane. Instead, she was nagging him to spend millions of dollars to basically buy Summer's job so that Summer and Kyle can move back to Genoa City. Hey, I have a crazy idea, Summer. If you want to live in Genoa City, why don't you just search for a job in Genoa City? Then Jack wouldn't have to put Jabot's financial position at risk, because that's a crazy idea, though, right? Right? Ugh. as Jack has said, they just got out of the fashion business. Why would they want to get back in? Oh, sure. It has nothing to do with bringing Kyle and Summer back into town. This is a great idea for Jabot. Sure. But hey, maybe it's going to bring great opportunities for bringing Jabot back into our lives, into our Young and the Restless. But I have to say, kind of on the vein of what I was talking about last week, I really felt like that scene in the park was also another example of Phyllis trying to manipulate Jack to get what she wants. She was using the donuts and champagne to sweeten him up to get what she really wanted, which is her daughter back in town. Diane did not have the donuts and champagne in the park with Jack, but she did almost ask Jack out to lunch, and then she changed her mind and deleted the text. I think the fact that Diane has chosen to keep a family portrait sitting by her bedside at the athletic club says everything we need to know. Diane doesn't just have a picture of Kyle sitting there. She could have chosen a million different pictures of Kyle, but she chose a family picture of Jack and Kyle. So it's clear that Diane wants him back. She wants the whole package. What do you guys think about a Diane and Jack pairing? Do you think there's any universe where Diane and Jack could actually work out? Do you think she could be good for him? Do you think that he could be good for her? Or are you guys rooting for Phyllis and Jack to stay together, even though in the previews for next week it looks like Jack is telling Phyllis unequivocally that this is the end. Goodbye. YRChat.com. This week's poll question is, would you like to see Jack with Phyllis or would you rather see Jack with Diane? If those are your only two options, don't give me the I want a third person line. Jack and Diane or Jack and Phyllis, which one of those would you prefer to see? And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that at this point a Jack and Diane reunion could be pretty great. I'm starting to think that they would really make quite a nice couple. I mean, Genoa City would probably freeze over. Everyone in town would be like, no, they would lose their minds. But I think that Jack and Diane could be really good. And now Diane has a new ally in her corner, Billy. How surprising was that? I mean, I was just shocked when Billy walked right up to Diane's table, especially she was eating alone, and Abby had just ripped Diane a new one. It was seeming like Billy was going to follow suit, but then he just walked right up to Diane and he sat down and he told her, I believe that people are capable of change, and they then went on to have a pretty nice conversation. So that's maybe a little bit of foreshadowing of things to come too. But I don't know, if Jack and Diane do get back together, if Diane really does want Jack and Kyle both, then it's interesting because in a way she hasn't changed, because that is exactly what she wanted many moons ago. She may still want Jack all for herself, and she may very well end up getting him without really having to try very hard to do it. Sharon gave Ashland a piece of her mind this week, and I'm starting to think that, at first I thought that every kind of conversation like that where people were coming at Ashland was leading to a who killed Ashland Locke story or who attempted to kill Ashland Locke story, but I don't think that's the case now. I think Sharon's explosion was Y&R's way of maybe squeezing in the viewer's narrative, because Y&R knows that faking cancer, of all illnesses, faking cancer is one of the worst things that Ashland could possibly have done, and Y&R's got to know that the viewers would want to see Sharon, of all people, let Ashland have it on their behalf, and I did. I liked that scene very much. Diane caught the tail end of Sharon's furor at Ashland, and Diane thought that, you know what, he needs a friend. I'm going to take him one of the nice, refreshing looking Crimson Light fruit teas. A nice icy fruit tea from Crimson Lights right to the park. And Ashland and Diane sat down and they sort of swapped dirty laundry stories. Kind of like, you tell me your sins and I'll tell you mine. And I liked that a lot. I think Diane and Ashland also would make a really good pair. They have a lot in common. Both of them, neither of them are parent of the year, that's for sure. But I liked the vibe that their conversation represented a judgment-free zone, and in a way that made me soften on Ashland a bit. And also Diane has these big, beautiful blue eyes, and she had so much empathy toward him that it made me extend a little bit of empathy toward him. But she did tell Ashland that she is not going to be arguing his case to Kyle about Harrison's custody in any way, shape, or form. She's not his ally in that way. Ashland is going to need an attorney for that. Actually, he's going to need an attorney for more than one lawsuit, because Michael Baldwin is planning to hit Ashland with a barrage of lawsuits. And you know what? He deserves it. That's exactly what you get when you go messing with the world's most brilliant attorney. Soap opera writers' advanced coursework. So, you've decided to destroy someone's character. They're totally unlikable. You've made them a monster. What is the quickest and best way to fold them back into the mix and get the viewers to accept them again? Well, step one, make everyone in town hate that character and harass them at every opportunity they could possibly have. And step two, find the one thing that monster character really cares about most, and then let the viewers see it get ripped away from them. That is Harrison to Ashland Locke. And just like that, I'm back in on Ashland. You cannot make me look deep into Robert Newman's blue eyes while Kyle is serving Ashland with the restraining order to keep him away from Harrison and not let me feel empathy for Ashland. I think that's the ticket. I started to feel empathy for him this week. And then the way Ashland stood there with the crumpled restraining order in his hand as he confronted Victor, knowing that Victor was the one behind it. Oh, I felt bad. I mean, do we really even need a restraining order? Is that really even necessary when we've got Harrison's nanny? Harrison's nanny looked like she was ready to drop kick Ashland right out of the park. Just kick him right out of there. She seemed pretty fierce. Oh, maybe we're going to get some traction on this, because after all these weeks of the Newmans trying to get Ashland to just leave town, it looks like the restraining order almost did it. On Friday, Ashland was seen packing up his suitcase. Surely nothing will stop him now. Oh, except Victoria. Because in the previews, Victoria, oh my goodness, has shown up in Ashland's hotel room, and she's in a bathrobe, and she's telling him that she wants them to run away together for real this time. Adam and Ashland have a really good, contentious dynamic. I think both of those guys just have the right amount of smug. I thought they were both really good in those scenes. Adam was poking at Ashland's feelings for Victoria, like a fox, of course. And Ashland was jabbing at Adam for letting Chancellor Winters get a leg up on Newman Media in the podcast business. It seemed to hit home, too, because Adam went back to the office where Victor was ominously sitting in the desk chair, and Adam reminded Victor that he had the podcast idea first. Apparently Victor had also just listened to the latest episode of Grinning Soul. Everybody's listening and talking about Grinning Soul. Can you even imagine Victor Newman, the great man, kicking back in his slippers at home listening to an anonymous podcast? I can't. Surely he's got better things to do. It doesn't seem like Victor would give it even one moment of his time, but Victor tells Adam, well, hey, if you want to do podcasts, then go do podcasts. What are you complaining about? I told you to go ahead with the idea, and I think that's a fair point. Adam has had his eye on the larger prize of Newman Enterprises when he could have been focused on Newman Media, and Adam kind of was complaining that, well, if he would have started the podcast idea, then surely Victoria would have just shut it down only because it was his idea. But that seems so defeatist. Where is the strong, capable, cunning Adam Newman, the take charge, get the job done guy, not just waiting around for something to happen? Luckily, that's where Sally comes into the picture. Sally definitely gave Adam a pep talk this week, which he needed. Sally said, you know what? So what our plan hasn't worked out? Let's just focus on running this awesome business together. Let's do it together. Let's make the most of it. And maybe Adam and Sally can do that together. Maybe they can work to rival Newman Media with Chancellor Winters, and we can just watch those two companies try to blow each other off the map. Nate and Devon and Billy had a men's meeting, a men's business meeting this week. Nate was up late the night before, toiling, typing out some notes to send to them, and Devon just dismissed everything as too much. All of Nate's ideas, he just said, too much. Ooh! The tension is building here. Nate says, big, and Devon says, small. And then Nate says, no, big. But then Devon says, small. But then Billy chimes in and he says, how about medium? And then everyone agrees, medium it is. Whew, crisis averted. Oh, I think that sums it up nicely. Well, then later, Devon and Nate had another meeting, and Nate almost spoke up, but then he thought better of it, and then Devon thought that was a good idea. It's better if Nate is the kind of COO who doesn't talk too much. Okay. I see what's going on here. Oh. Well, Amanda and Imani are too disagreeing now. Devon and Amanda are too conservative. That's what Imani says. She told that to Nate. You know, Amanda and Devon are too conservative. You and I are bold and but dynamic, Nate. Bold and dynamic. Imani even tried to do a little end run around Amanda this week on a legal issue, and Lily put Imani right back into check, saying that she defers to Amanda's opinion always, so don't even try it. The part I'm conflicted about is Amanda's attitude toward Imani, because on the one hand, yeah, Imani is a jerk. She is taking subtle jabs at Elena. She is throwing herself at Nate. And by the way, one of these days, Imani is really going to throw herself at Nate. She is going to kiss him in public or something, and Elena's going to accidentally see it. But here's the thing. I think Amanda's right, but Amanda's not Imani's mom, and I thought it was kind of inappropriate that Amanda pulled Imani out of a business meeting to scold her over it, when I didn't really think what Imani was doing in that moment was that bad. I mean, if I were Amanda, I think I would definitely address the issue. I would definitely let my feelings be known, but I would do it in a personal atmosphere because it's a personal issue. I think Amanda is realizing that she doesn't quite like who her sister is personally, and also Amanda has become really good friends with Elena all of a sudden. I really liked the private coffee chat where Amanda was admitting to Elena that she sometimes feels not totally cued into the same bond that Devon shares with Dominic. But what she does share is Devon's happiness about it all, and that's what Amanda wants more than anything. So she inspired Elena to have the same attitude toward Nate. Elena doesn't entirely share Nate's enthusiasm for his new career, but Elena sees how happy it makes him, and so she wants that for him. And when it comes to Imani, I think Elena is perfectly capable of defending herself, and I think that maybe it's time Elena did defend herself a little bit. Amanda tried breaking the ice on that topic, and Amanda said to Elena, well, look, I know Imani is not subtle about what she wants, but Elena then lied to Amanda by saying that she didn't feel threatened by any of it. Elena said that she thinks her only competition is with Nate's job. She doesn't feel threatened by Imani. But we know that's not true because Elena fell asleep on the couch this week and she had a nightmare that Nate brought Imani home to their apartment and they were about to take a shower together. So I would say that Elena feels threatened by Imani, whether she's ready to admit that or not. Side note, was that a beer? Was Elena drinking a beer? Because she was laying on the couch and they showed a frosty mug on the table and it had yellow liquid in it. And I thought to myself, oh, was Elena a little bit buzzed when she had that dream? Was that a factor? Or maybe not. Maybe knowing Elena, it was probably just a chamomile tea or something. But I have to bring this up because here's something we really have never talked about. We always complain when the characters very obviously have half-empty cups and then they take like fake sips of the drinks. But have you noticed that Y&R slowly started incorporating those clear mugs into the show? They have those clear mugs at the Grand Phoenix and now I guess they have them at Elena and Nate's house. Do you think that maybe that was a response to some of our complaints? Is that Y&R's way of saying, see, they're drinking real liquid and it's full? That's what I'm wondering. Because if that was their plan, it's really smart. I like the clear glasses a lot. It kind of takes something that was once an annoyance and a little bit of a mystery, and it makes it totally transparent now. So I think that's very good, Y&R. But back to Elena. So Elena has this nightmare that Nate is getting ready to cheat on her with Imani, and then Elena runs into Imani at the coffee house, and I'm wondering, was Elena about to set the record straight there? Amanda walked in, and everyone very quickly pretended to be BFFs, but I was kind of looking forward to seeing Elena and Imani stop being polite and start getting real, you know? One thing I am also going to wish for here, I kind of wish that Imani had a friend. I wish that Imani had someone that she could talk to that could help soften her up with the viewers a little bit. Like, Imani needs to have some kind of dialogue that makes her more than just a one-dimensional man-eater, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of thinking that, well, if Amanda is friends with Phyllis, wouldn't it be kind of brilliant if Imani became friends with Diane? Just when I'm finally starting to heal from Ray's death, Y&R reminds us that it's the anniversary of Cassie's death too, and then they gotta bust out the Cassie's death music. You know the music that I'm talking about. The title of it must be Ode to Cassie or something. I'm pretty sure they were playing it on her deathbed, and they're playing it on the anniversary of her death forever thereafter. So I just have a Pavlovian response to it. I hear the Cassie's death music, and I see her in the deathbed, and all my emotions about Cassie swell up, and then there's tears, and ugh, I didn't really need that this year. But it's a part of life. I think that Nick did the right thing by talking to Sharon about it. I mean, every year they do something to acknowledge Cassie on the anniversary of her death, and this year it went by unacknowledged because Sharon was dealing with another tragedy. But Nick didn't want it to just go unaddressed. He didn't want it to go suppressed. So they talked about it. They visited the grave. And Sharon made this really stark comment about how Cassie has now been gone for longer than she was here. Wow. Wow. I thought that was a really interesting and real moment. Sharon has just had a lot of difficult truths to deal with right now. Chance stopped by to talk with Sharon about Ray, and Chance was letting Sharon know that he is working to close all of Ray's open cases. Anything that Ray was working on at the time of his death, Chance is going to try to close those cases in Ray's honor. That's his vow. That's his way of honoring Ray. But I kind of wonder if maybe one of those cases will turn out to be dangerous or something, because there was this really ominous way that Chance went to visit Abby at work, and he met her outside, and he gave her a big hug and a big kiss, and he was talking about the mission that he was getting ready to go on, and there was something about it that just almost felt like he was giving her a kiss goodbye. I really enjoyed Noah and Allie's coffee house banter. They were chatting about Billy's latest podcasts over Sharon's famous fruit tea. And then they were disagreeing about the content and what the message was of the podcast. And they both had two totally different interpretations of the same episode. And I thought it was cute. And did you see Tracy's reaction to Noah and Allie? I think Tracy knows young love when she sees it, and she really picked up on it. She tuned into that. I mean, ooh, I think in a million years I probably would not have picked Allie to be with Noah. Noah is such a rebel without a cause in a way, and Allie is such an upright good girl with her planners and her lists, and maybe that's exactly why it works. They're both a little misfit, and in a way they have more in common than you would think, more than they realized. Allie seems to really have a good sense of humor, though. She comes off as very stiff at first, and she only gives you maybe a hint here or there, a little taste of her true personality, a little bit at a time. I think she's an introvert, but she is little by little coming out of her shell quite nicely. I really enjoyed Allie telling Diane off a little bit. I can kind of identify with Allie in that, because her first instinct was definitely to be nice to Diane and to say that it's fine, but then she had to check herself and be true to herself and say, you know what, Diane, it's actually not fine. I trusted you once, you used me, what you did wasn't cool, and thanks so much for the apology, but I don't trust you now. Except I'm totally gonna stay and have coffee with you because, well, it's just the polite thing to do. Good thing I'm not a cat. That was last week's Who Said It quote, and it was a really hard one. The answer was Imani. In the scene where Imani, Amanda, and Elena last week were chatting with each other, Imani was asking a bunch of questions about how exactly Elena and Nate got together, and Amanda was giving her the side eye a little bit because they were talking about the affair, and Imani was like, well, I'm just curious. Good thing I'm not a cat. You know what happened to the cat. Anyway, I thought that was a very good line. Only 3 people guessed it. So really big congratulations to Henry, of course, to Brittany, and also to Heather. You guys guessed it right. Well, I think maybe this one won't be too tough. It's pretty memorable, but you let me know if you know who said it. With the great white heat of 1,000 suns. Doesn't that line seem like it should come from a novel? With the great white heat of 1,000 suns. Who said that? If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And now it's time to get to your comments. I personally purposefully pulled back my comments about the whole Phyllis situation because I knew that you guys were going to do a much better job of filling in these blanks. Starting with Victoria, who says, busted! We all knew Phyllis was going to get in her own way. She might as well put up an I'm available sign on Diane. Phyllis's insecurities have been running amok. I must admit, it's been fun to watch. Michelle Stafford has been over the top. Oh man, that is putting it mildly. Michelle Stafford has been over the top. Say what you will. It's good conversation. She is a great conversation piece. Like I said, she makes this show worth chatting about. Diana says, did Jack really need to hear Phyllis spell to Diane out what she's been doing since Diane arrived back in Genoa City? It was pretty obvious what Phyllis was up to without having to hear her verbally tell Diane she was marking our territory with Jack. I'm sure Jack knew this all along but didn't want to believe it and wanted to give Phyllis the benefit of the doubt. Phyllis is always talking about how bad Diane is and reminding everyone not to forget what Diane has done in the past. Deep down, Phyllis knows more than anyone that people are capable of changing for the better. Phyllis's checkered past speaks for itself. What worries Phyllis is that Diane really has changed and that Jack will then fall back in love with Diane. Not that Phyllis is so in love with Jack and doesn't want to lose him, but that it would mean Phyllis would not be Jack's number one anymore. Ooh, you know, this is really, Diana, this is the best point of the week. It's not that Phyllis is afraid that Diane hasn't changed. It's that Phyllis is afraid that Diane has changed. That is why she is so threatened by Diane. Oh, you are so good. That is like the essence of the whole thing right there. It explains Phyllis's motives and her over-the-top reactions so perfectly. T. Nicole says, Diane is winning over Phyllis. I don't fully trust Diane, and I know we will see her manipulative side come out, but she is playing the long game, and Phyllis is going for the short satisfaction win. So short that her gloating only lasted a couple of minutes before it all came crashing down when Jack walked back into the Grand Phoenix. Phyllis is also giving Diane the satisfaction of knowing that she makes Phyllis insecure because it is so obvious she is purposefully wanting to flaunt that her and Jack just had sex. All Diane has to do is keep acting as the new, well-behaved woman she says she is and take all the digs made toward her with grace, and then to Jack she will seem way more mature than Phyllis, who is playing games. I think you're right that really what Phyllis accomplished in all of that is showing Diane exactly how insecure she was. T. Nicole also says, it did bother me when Phyllis tried to smooth things over with Jack. Actually, no, I think this was a comment from, I think it's T. Nicole. Oh, sorry if I'm getting the name wrong. I had a problem with my copy and paste this week. The keyboard on my computer, it's like, it doesn't always paste correctly. So I apologize if this is not a T. Nicole comment, but it's a good comment. It did bother me when Phyllis tried to smooth things over with Jack that she used Diane as an excuse for her actions, that this was all Diane's fault. Regardless of how you feel about Diane, no one forced you to flaunt your relationship with Jack in her face. That was your decision, Phyllis. Phyllis has no control over Diane and her decisions, but she can control how she responds to them. I agree with Amanda. It would have looked much better for Phyllis to just own up to what she did, say I'm sorry, and this is why I did it, rather than the childish response of using someone else as an excuse. Yeah, Amanda really set it down sharply with Phyllis, didn't she? But I also liked Amanda's coaching of Phyllis, where she said, okay, calm down. The fact that you did this doesn't unravel all of the progress that you've made. Let's see it as, a step in the wrong direction, but it doesn't mean that everything has fallen apart. It's one incident. You messed up. Let's try to move forward from there. But yeah, Phyllis knew. She knew how bad she messed up. Heather says, I really love Michelle Stafford as Phyllis. I think she is funny and passionate and has charisma. But I am really disliking these scenes. It's so hard to watch. It's the feeling that you get when someone is embarrassing themselves and you just want to jump through the TV. It feels yucky. Also, they are trying to make Phyllis and Jack passionate, but that's not their relationship. That is thick. I've said several times that I much prefer Phyllis with Nick, but if you're going to put Phyllis with Jack, you need to make them a sweet couple that catches some kisses here and there and has some deep conversations, and having them rip each other's clothes off feels contrived, and it's not what I want to see. I think you're right that the dynamic of Phyllis and Nick's relationship was much more rip your clothes off. There, I think, was something, the appeal of the Jack and Phyllis relationship was never really rip your clothes off, even back in the day, not that I remember anyway. It was definitely the fact that they balanced each other very well. There was a yin and a yang about them. He seemed to know her and accept her, and she seemed to really value who he was as a man. So I think you're right that the Phyllis and Jack dynamic is not rip your clothes off. It maybe needed to be a little bit more romance and subtle and kisses and whining and dining and maybe just enjoying being fabulously rich. I think that Diane could really fit that bill with Jack. That's the truth. I think that, I mean, if that's what we're looking for Jack at this stage of his life, I think Diane could be the one. Gary says, I don't care who loves who. Jack and Phyllis are a ridiculously matched couple. Jack needs to get to the altar with that beautiful woman with the short dark hair who was taking dictation in the Winters Chancellor's boardroom the other day. Well, until Diane is ready. Yeah, I think that's the ticket. I think that maybe my preferred couple, well, would be Jack and Diane, Phyllis and Nick. And that feels like sacrilege because you know I am a Sharon and Nick fan, but I'm not sure, I'm not really sure I want to see the Nick and Sharon reunion as much right now. I really love Phyllis and Nick. I think those two are a match made in heaven right now. And Sharon, I think that Sharon really could get with anybody in town, you know? I mean, you could put Sharon with a mailbox, as long as it's not the mailbox that Phyllis marked her territory on. Sharon would have chemistry with anyone, but I honestly think that even though I like Adam and Sally, I could be, maybe now is the time that I could be drawn back into the Adam and Sharon reunion. Maybe Jack, Diane, Phyllis, Nick, Adam, Sharon. And although I don't know where that would leave Sally, Sally could make a good pair with Noah or Billy, or I mean, there's options there. I think we might be headed for a couple shake-up too. Well, let's talk about last week's poll question. Do soap slaps still pack a punch? Well, I suppose this is not surprising. 69% of you still love that soapy slap, while 31% of you vote no. Sue W. sums this up nicely by saying, soap slaps? Sure! Impossibly 24/7 ready, gorgeous and overdressed characters doing and saying things that no one would dare do or say in real life? Sure! Pretentious wheelings, dealings, careers, dialogues of woefully inept, fast-tracked wonderkins? Sure! Full of plot hole stories that make no sense? Sure! Soaps are inherently melodramatic and more than a bit campy. So, slaps? Heck yeah! Along with all of the other ludicrous harpings, tussles, confrontations, and going-ons that define a soap. Not to diminish the great drama and emotional wallop a soap can, should, and absolutely does deliver, but it's hard to lose sight of the silly bubble it's all framed in, and I love it. Dang, Sue W., that is good. You've got to be a writer because that's fantastic. You know, I think it actually is kind of easy to lose sight of the silly bubble that it's all framed in. Oh, bubble! Gosh, that's just the perfect term. This is the perfect comment about soaps. But I think it is easy to lose sight of it. I think sometimes we want soaps to be something more than they are. But I think as I've gotten older, I've been able to really recognize the genre, as opposed to trying to make it be something that could fit into prime time or whatever. I think I've come more to embrace the soap genre and the letting of it being silly. I'm also just a brute because I voted yes for the cheap thrill of the soap slap too. Tina Cole voted yes, but The slaps are my least favorite of altercations, and I would rather see a full-out cat fight. But my true preference is the pouring of milk over one's head, as Sharon did to Nikki, or when Lily pushed Amanda into the rooftop pool. I love some creativity when it comes to amping up the classic soap slap. Yeah. And Ambrini says, I prefer the water dump. Can't be faked. The reaction would be amazing if it was real ice and ice water. I also enjoy a cat fight. For some reason, ladies fighting is comical, but men fighting is mean. But of course, in real life, it's wrong. A drink in the face is the least harmful. Yeah, drink in the face is fun, or ice bucket over the head is fun. Kamna says, like any other soap fan, slap scenes are always fun, but I voted no because in 2022, psychological warfare goes much further than slapping, like what we saw with Phyllis and Diane this week, or what I think we're going to see more of with Imani and Elena. After the whole Will Smith Oscars incident, it feels a bit off and tone deaf now. Oh, I didn't even make that connection. That's a great connection. Very relevant. Well, Ellen has probably the correct answer here. Ellen says, keep your hands to yourself. We learned that in kindergarten. It's a big no on the soap slaps from me. No one wins anything in these stupid exchanges. Yeah, that is true. You are right. That's the correct way to look at it. Keep your hands to yourself. And speaking of keeping your hands to yourself, Naomi says, Amanda trying to rein in Imani was interesting. Imani made it clear that she will make her own decisions and run her own life. At least Imani is transparently making her play for Nate. I appreciate her straightforward approach. He's a successful, charming, and handsome man that's not married. Elena realizes the relationship will need extra effort, but she may not have the energy. She works, and she doesn't just take meetings all day. I love Elena, but I also enjoy Imani. Yeah, that's the great thing about this, because I really love Elena, and I don't want to see her boyfriend get stolen away from her, but on the same hand, I really like Imani. I think she mixes it up. T. Nicole says, a chatter made a comment a few weeks ago asking why Nate hasn't told Imani to back off, and I completely agree. I don't think Elena should have to be the one to do it, and it needs to come from Nate. I do not think Imani has done anything yet that could be considered too over the line when it comes directly to how she's interacted with Nate, but I do think she needs to be careful, because if the feelings are not reciprocated, then it could start to look like sexual harassment if it goes too far. This made me think of when Summer was trying to pursue Billy and it was getting to the point of uncomfortable. Yeah, I think I agree with you on all points here, T. Nicole. First of all, yeah, Nate needs to say something. Nate needs to say something. I mean, he comes off as just totally oblivious to the whole thing to me, but, you know, you're right. He really shouldn't be. Nate has been warned. I think that Imani is ready to unhinge her jaw and just devour him, and he knows it. And I don't know why he doesn't address it other than he doesn't want to step too far out of line, when I also agree with you that nothing Imani has done has been unprofessional. I mean, most of their interactions have been within the context of work. I mean, that's what she's using as the framework to talk with him. And I didn't think that what she was doing at the meeting that Amanda pulled her out of was particularly unprofessional. I don't think that any of the things that she's done has been unprofessional toward him, and maybe that's why he's hesitant to talk out. But I also really love your point that if it goes too much further, unreciprocated especially, it really could start to look like sexual harassment, and this is a great tie-in to what was going on with Summer and Billy. Yeah, just throwing herself at him. Ugh. Sue W. says, I think it was actually the week before last when Nate was speaking with Imani regarding Naya, and I remember thinking that Imani seemed to be genuinely speaking with a friend, albeit one she wants to bed, instead of just blatantly drooling and flirting. I haven't yet seen all the scenes for the week, but Imani is allowed to have a friend in Nate, kind of like Chelsea with Ray. Be attracted all you want to the other person, just nip it and be appropriate and respectful. But again, I haven't finished the week yet, so we'll see if Barracuda Imani is circling the Nate waters. No, I think it stayed pretty much at around the same tone. I mean, I think you're right. I think it's not wrong for her to want to be friends with Nate. It's just that we happen to know that she wants more, and I think everybody's just waiting for her to make a move to get it. Diana says, when Elena had the dream about Imani at the apartment, I was hoping she would have dreamt seeing Imani and Nate kiss. I was a little disappointed that Imani only spoke about what she wanted to do with Nate, as she mentioned taking a shower with him. I still very much enjoyed the scene, and I hope we see Elena have more dreams of the two of them. Nate can't be a bad guy, and at least Elena can dream that he's with Imani. Oh, if Nate can't be a bad guy, at least Elena can dream. Yeah, I like the use of the dream to get that done a little bit. Also, another thing I gotta say about that dream, did anybody notice that Imani was standing on the stairs, and she was inviting Nate to come up and join her for the shower, but she held out her hand to him but did not extend her fingers? I don't know if you've noticed this about the actress, but I don't know if she maybe possibly has an arthritic hand, or or if it's just part of how she holds her body. It's not a judgment of it, but just a noticing that she sort of held out her wrist with the fingers not extended for Nate to like grab her wrist, I suppose, and she was gonna drag her, or I don't know. It was just so strange. She didn't do an outreached hand. She just sort of puts her little wrist out, and she holds her hand that way a lot. If you look at Imani's hand, she definitely holds them with her fingers in. I guess it's just her body language, or I'm not sure. But it's an interesting facet of the actress and her poise, which I really like. Well, Keisha says Imani sees nothing wrong with laying her head on another woman's pillow. Nate should have set her straight before it got to this point. Amanda better put a stop to this. Elena lives too close to Devon for this sloppy drama. Oh, yeah, I agree that Nate needs to address it. But we also have to remember that the laying a head on another woman's pillow was a dream. I mean, Imani didn't really do that. But I think if it goes any further, Nate needs to step up. But Sherrod says, this is why I think Amanda is all over Imani. She cannot have Elena heartbroken and single. And you are absolutely 1000% correct. Nate should have nipped this in the bud a long time ago. That nonsense about him saying Imani's not flirting with him is crap. He knows very well what this woman is doing, and I think he enjoys the ego stroking. Oh, this is two great points, Sherrod and Keisha, because yeah, Amanda does not need Elena to be single right now and living right across the hall from Devon. But also, gosh, I mean, so you think Nate knows exactly what's going on, and he is letting Imani flirt with him because it floats his ego. Nate just comes off as totally oblivious about it to me. Like, Elena has told Nate, she wants you, but I guess I took it as he's not really taking it seriously, or he's not really seeing what Elena is seeing. But you may very well be right. We could be dealing with an all-new Nate. I mean, he is so hungry all of a sudden for this new job and this new opportunity, and to make a new name for himself in a new career in a new industry. And it may very well be possible that we see him wanting to take larger and larger bites out of the apple, up to and including just wanting to consume another woman. I mean, we don't know. We don't quite know where Nate is going to be a couple of months from now. It could be signaling a total change in his character. He may very well go ahead and cheat with Imani on Elena. He may be very well interested and laying the groundwork for it. I mean, we don't know what's inside of Nate's head when it comes to Imani. Well, Ellen, on a different topic, says, Kyle is a grown man who seems very scarred by the loss of his mother as a young boy. So why? What is his excuse for keeping Harrison away from Tara? Tara is not a danger to Harrison. She is, at most, guilty of some white-collar financial crime. She should be out of her country club prison by now. She should be back in Harrison's life. Plus, now Kyle is keeping father from Harrison, too. How much of people is one child supposed to take? Kyle, of all people, should know that separation from parents is painful and may cause some serious issues. Victor and Summer have their own agendas. Kyle should think about Harrison only and grow a backbone. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Kyle should know this is a great connection. Kyle should know what it feels like to have a parent, to be estranged from a parent, and yet he's doing it on both ends. Harrison's mother and now Harrison's father. Wow. Well, Gary says, when Ashland tells Adam, watch me get Victoria back, is that a clue that he isn't getting murdered? If the restraining order against Ashland banning him from seeing Harrison doesn't hold up, will someone in town have to kill him to protect Harrison from the bad influence some say Ashland is Ashland Log? Yeah, I just feel like all of that was either a tease or Y&R just stopped it and decided to go in a different direction. I don't think we're going to get a Who Killed Ashland lock. Sherrod says, I am really disappointed with Y&R turning Ashland from the supposed Loch Ness monster into a wimpy, whiny puppy. This story now totally lacks punch. Letting Victor Newman win all the time is getting boring, old, and stale. Oh, well, I was thinking maybe when it comes to Ashland, that maybe right now we are just in the sympathy building stage. Like we are just trying to recover from the fact that Y&R backed into a Loch Ness Monster story. They didn't give us the Loch Ness Monster story. They just went, oh yeah, everything that he did back in the day, yeah, that was monstrous. But we didn't actually see Ashland. We didn't have the knowledge that Ashland was manipulating when he was manipulating. So they sort of backed into it. They kind of made him a monster in retrospect. And I'm wondering if now what they're going to do is unleash the monster and let him be the Loch Ness Monster, only this time he would have Victoria at his side. Kamna also says, I wonder if Y&R is purposely having the entire town gang up against Ashland so that we all begin rooting for him. I personally cannot wait for Locke to swat all of the sanctimonious socialite mosquitoes of Genoa City. Summer, have you met your mother and read a list of the lies and crimes she committed? Kyle, you're nurturing a relationship with your own mom right now. Grandpa Victor has faked his death multiple times. Ashley lied to Abby about her paternity. Nikki was trying to get away with murdering JT. And goodness, even Sharon has stolen a baby. Ashland needs to take them all down a peg, and maybe Adam will help him. Oh, I wish that would be the case, that Adam would help him. Gosh, and that's a great comment, Kamna. Way to lay that out. Sherrod also circles back to say, I think having everyone gang up on Ashland, and especially Victor encouraging Kyle and Summer to put a restraining order against Ashland to prevent him from seeing Harrison, will make Victoria feel sorry for him. I said this a long time ago. Ashland has done nothing more devious than Victor's done in the past. Why does he think he's better than Ashland? Nikki is still with Victor. Why can't Victoria be with Ashland? I think it would be nice to see Ashland and Victoria take on Victor and Nikki. Yeah, and maybe that's exactly what we're getting ready to see. Sue W says, Ashland is such a lame-o putsy putz these days, but I am liking that handsome Robert Newman. Yeah, that's a great lighter note to end on too, because or end the Ashland conversation, because I think Robert Newman is looking a little more like, I don't know, he kind of looks more tan, and he kind of looks like maybe he's been working out, and he just looks, I don't know, maybe it's just me getting used to him or something, but the past couple of weeks I've been thinking, he's attractive. He is very attractive, so I agree with you there. Oh, well, actually, maybe we're not done with the Ashland talk, because we got to talk about Sharon's reaction to him. Victoria says, go, Sharon. Now tell Ashland how you really feel. You were a barracuda today when you flayed Ashland for his fake cancer claims. You threw his smear campaign in his face and let him know how it really feels to have cancer. You threw another punch when you let him know the emotional toll that a family goes through and the bargains they make. Ashland should be ashamed, but he looks mildly disturbed. If you can't get to him, no one can. If you can't get to him, no one can. Yeah, those were good scenes. But Sue W says Sharon's barrage on Ashland for faking cancer seemed a bit out of character. Of course it served to barrage viewers with her very raw perspective as a cancer survivor. But Sharon, Genoa City's widowed goddess of wisdom and benevolence, unleashed in a way that I suppose was meant to show she's only human and deserving of her rant. Where is her therapeutic Tell me for unending and, of course, gratis hours, what in your life has led you here, you poor misguided soul? Not that Sharon's reaction wasn't understandable or even warranted, and Sharon C. emoted expertly as always. Anyway, I'm getting a bit weary of the relentless, never-ending Ashland blame-shame show. I get it. Bad Ashland. Sharon showcase just seemed like unnecessary piling onto what is already a never-ending plot point, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, it is. They do pile on. I mean, man. Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's back to Calmness point, too. I think that they just pile on and hope to build up some sympathy for the character. But you thought that Sharon's confronting of him was a little bit out of her character. Yeah, I think you're right. It was probably like, okay, we've pushed Sharon to the edge of everything she can stand. We gotta let her have this moment. Well, how about this? T. Nicole says, I am here for the Allie and Noah romance. I think they could be really cute together. It's kind of giving me the Kyle and Lola vibes when they first met. Yeah, I know. I like them together, too. But Sue W. says, cute as Noah and Allie are, I'm not sure if I'm finding the two together all that exciting. I say leave the cute to Moses and Faith. I'm hoping for more fire and complexity from Noah and Allie than nice guy woos hard to get nice girl and they trade sassy banter. Allie is sweet, but rather bland so far. I'm waiting for her character to develop more grit. And I wonder if Tessa will be surprised to find herself bothered by Noah's finally moving on. That could bring some twisty soapy turns. I can't read today. Yeah, you know, it's curious. I'm wondering how Tessa will react too. I would like to think that Tessa will not react, or that she will react with happiness for Noah. I mean, she's a newlywed. She made her choice. But, you know, you do make a really good point that Noah and Allie are cute, but will we see some grit? What will be the challenge for the lovebirds? Well, let's end the Y&R chat on this, because T. Nicole says, I caught a Crimson Lights, the Crimson Lights sign. Brownies, muffins, and croissants are all $4. I also noticed that Sharon has a very colorful macaroons displayed in one of the glass-covered cake domes. It's very appropriate for summer. Yeah, those brownies do look good. Brownies and cookies. I think, what was it? I think Sharon sat down some brownies and cookies for Noah and Allie, and he took the one cookie and left her with the brownie, and I was like, whatever, no problem. I would go for the brownie, probably. And the brownies do look very good. $4. Is that, is that on point for what you would pay for a brownie or a cookie? I'm not sure. Brownies, muffins, and croissants, $4. It seems a little low. I don't know. I feel like maybe it would be more like $6 if it was a really good muffin or brownie. I don't know. I could be off. I don't eat out all that much. But what I'm really looking forward to with summer is being on the watch for all of our beautiful fruit water and all of our beautiful fruit teas. I think that's the true hallmark of summer. But we never end up seeing the aftermath of all of that, which is all of that fruit straight to the trash. I love iced tea. That's my summer drink. Well, I drink tea year round, and in the winter I drink hot tea, but in the summer I can break out and get some iced teas and not shiver to death. So I love seeing all the cold drinks. Even when Allie came into the coffee house and she was like, just give me something cold, and then it was beautiful fruit tea. I love that. I love that menu board. I love that case at Crimson Lights. I love Crimson Lights. That's the place where I want to be. That's the restaurant I would go to, and that's the place I want to be all summer long. We can be indoor. We can be out on the patio. Yeah, Crimson Lights is the spot. I also really liked that Allie and Noah were at Crimson Lights at night. You could kind of see that it was a bit of a bluish hue on the outside of the door, and you could see there was some white light coming down on them. Almost looked like moonlight. You know, we don't get to see Crimson Lights at night a whole lot, but I definitely got a date night vibe out of that. And I like that Allie said, but you know what, she's an early bird. Tracy's a night owl. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Tracy's a night owl, but Allie's an early bird, so she was out late, you know, deciding to get a little bit of caffeine, discovering the town. I mean, I don't know, I like that vibe. I like that she's just new to this town and walking around and just, you know what, I'm going to go into this coffee house where maybe I'll see that cute boy. Something about that appeals to me. Crimson lights at night. Twinkly crimson lights at night appeals to me. Oh, and we know from their door a couple weeks ago, they're open till like midnight. So how can you even believe that? Nothing's open till midnight around here. Oh, well, I think I covered it. Maybe it's time for you guys to pick up the ball. Go to yrchat.com. Leave me your comments. Vote in that poll. Are you guys even open to the Jack and Diane potential romance like I am? Leave me your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, and we will come back next week to chat about it all over again. I love you guys. I hope you have a really good week. Take care. Enjoy your summer. Bye.